Hey there, it's Skyward Shield. Welcome to the Big Pick Podcast. I am joined, as always, by Mr. Bill. Say hello, Bill.
Hello?
And joined by Mr. Chicken. Say hello, Mr. Chicken.
Hey, boys and girls, to the podcast. Are you ready for some football?
This week was also pretty good. There's some blowouts, obviously, especially if you got stuck with the primetime games. Most of them were just, eek. But there were some other ones and some regular non-primetime games that were very good and down to the wire. And before we get to any of those games, there's some trade news because the trade deadline's coming up. And we already have one major one. The Dallas Cowboys have given up a first-round pick for Amari Cooper. Yes, you read that correctly. Someone actually took the bait. And now the Raiders will have 5 first-round picks over the next 2 years.
I mean,
That's fantastic stockpiling by Mr. Gruden there.
that is definitely fantastic stockpiling. Amari Cooper's hands are not worth a first-round pick, though.
They are not, but hey, it's only fitting that the team that bites on this, that takes the bait, is the Raiders' NFC counterpart, the Cowboys, because both teams cannot let go of the glory days.
So let me just paint a picture here. The Dallas Cowboys were willing to part with a first-round pick for Amari Cooper, but were afraid to give up a second for Earl Thomas. What world are we living in?
No, let's take it a step further. These are the same guys who didn't want Dez Bryant, thinking he would impact Dak's success. When he's gone, Dak has been struggling a bit.
Legitimately, his hands are made of concrete. Oh my God.
Did you know that last year the two players with the worst drop rate in the NFL were Dez Bryant and Amari Cooper?
Yeah, so that was what makes this funnier. They don't want Dez, but they take Amari Cooper.
Just think, if they re-signed Dez, then they could have the all-drop team right there.
Ooh, just call them the Oopsie Boys.
Oopsie daisy.
Exactly. I mean, I don't understand what Dallas was thinking, but then again, it's Jerry Jones, so you never know. Everyone in Cowboys Nation is gonna be really fired up, and I mean,
I feel like half of them are like, yeah, let's get this bread, and the others are like, oh, we're so stupid, because they have other needs too. They need corners, and yes, they do need wide receivers, but they also do need some secondary pieces. Because those guys are not holding up their own. Just if you think, like, what good is the pass rush you have, the great pass rush you have, if you get a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers who only needs to look at the field for 2 seconds and bam, ball's already gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all the way to the house for a touchdown. Too easy. But
yep, I mean, it doesn't make any sense, the trade.
I mean, I believe they were outbidding. Philly reportedly offered a second-round pick for Amari Cooper, and I think there were a couple other teams that were in that like second-round pick range, but the Cowboys, Jerry Jones was letting his fucking onions hang, boys.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that trade and see if it was actually worth it with that first-round pick now.
I mean, they might even be able to get a first-round wide receiver who drops the ball all the time.
Exactly.
I will say, I just can't wait to see good old Jason Garrett just keep on clapping his way to another mediocre season. Go, keep going. Win 8-8. Go 8-8. I'm fine with that.
Did you know over the last 10 games, the Cowboys' record is loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win.
Perfection. That is what I live for. That is my muse as a Texans fan.
The Cowboys are Thanos' favorite team.
Yes, they are, and that is why they will be spared from when he gets the gauntlet again and wipes out half the NFL teams. Meanwhile, in New York, Eli Manning is saying, "I don't feel so good." Actually, no, he'll be safe because he only has 2 Super Bowl rings. That's an even number. You can
But
have
he
it.
did win both of them. He didn't win half of them.
No, I'm saying if you cut it in half, it's a perfect one.
True.
Unlike Brady, be 2.5. That's not good. Bye.
God damn it! You just doomed us to watching Tom Brady win another Super Bowl. You son of
Oh yeah. Well, if he
Oh,
gets one, he will become Thanos. He's one gem away. But that's enough Marvel references. Other general trades, I know there was an Eli Apple trade to the Saints. I didn't like the guy. I just don't like him as a person. But I mean, the Saints are really desperate to go and make a push because they got a window now. They got an opportunity, and
They do. There's been strong rumors that we could. There's strong rumor that the Saints may be pushing to make a trade for Patrick Peterson from the Cardinals.
there is that too. But to me, it's like you already gave up some stuff for Eli Apple. What else can you give up for him? And besides,
I don't know.
here's the other thing. Why would the Cardinals want to trade within the NFC? If anything, it makes more sense they trade to the AFC.
You know what? It doesn't really make a difference for the Cardinals because if they can get draft capital from anybody, it's gonna be a net win. And
Right.
Besides, I have the perfect candidate, which is the perfect transition for the next segment, trades we like to see. Where would I like Patrick Peterson to go? Simple. Houston. Why? Houston has some cornerback woes. Players getting hurt. Good news was Andre Howell was back, started against Jacksonville. Wonderful story. We'll get to that later. But they still need some corner pieces. And I think the perfect candidate for that filled in that role is Patrick Peterson. They can cover the cap for the next 2 years. You're pretty likely to get Pro Bowl years out of him in those 2 years. And just imagine if he's on that squad with Honey Badger and Kareem Jackson can move back to safety maybe. I would like that secondary core with the way it is and if it stays healthy. Well, would they have to give up? A first rounder for sure, but hey, it was either a corner or an offensive lineman anyway. So, what will you do? If the Texans keep going at this pace, they won't even be in the right position to draft an offensive lineman, so I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Patrick Peterson to the Texans.
I mean, it would help your secondary. To me, that's not your biggest issue for your team right now.
Well, I'd love to trade for Joe Thomas, but he's retired right now.
I mean, the biggest issue for your team is
Ben Chicken's gone.
Is the offensive line.
Sorry, there was a work phone call.
You gotta tell us when you got these phone calls, Mr. Chicken.
How am I supposed to warn you guys?
But
In the chat, at least. I don't know.
oh
well, whatever.
But here's the thing though. I mean, overall, your biggest issue is on the offensive line.
I'm aware of that.
So-
I've been saying that for weeks, man. But hey, if you can get a Pro Bowl talent like that can be a difference maker.
If you're gonna trade for anyone, definitely offensive lineman.
But who's giving up an offensive lineman? Nobody wants to give up their good lineman.
We're talking Houston Texans offensive line.
If only they
what I
had
would-
like an all-pro level left tackle. You know, one that could really solidify a line.
Oh, you're making your Dwayne Brown shots, but your team is looking middle of the road. Besides, we still have one of the picks you gave us. Next time we have your second round pick.
Listen. I told you. We have a top 5 tackle duo in the NFL for pass blocking according to PFF.
Oh man.
I mean,
So,
that may change because you're going to play pretty sneaky good defense this week. So we'll see.
we've played against amazingly good D-lines.
The Rams are
The
a
Rams.
mixed bag.
The Rams have Sue and Aaron Donald.
Sue's been
we
quiet, if you ask me.
We played against Khalil Mack. We played against Von Miller. I'd say that we've not played against some of the better defensive lines in the league.
Yeah.
Don't you play the Vikings?
Seattle does play the Vikings in Seattle.
That should be fun. Anyway,
Yeah.
we'll see then. I'm not sure who they would go for from the offensive line because nobody's giving up their linemen, especially with the CBA coming up soon.
Yeah, it's a weird spot to be in need of an offensive lineman right now. I just feel like the teams who do have established offensive lines are also like very competitive this year.
All right.
Yep.
Well
not
then,
there's
Mr.
possible
Chicken,
correlation.
do you have any trades you'd like to see?
Oh, let's see. I would love to see Le'Veon Bell go to Philadelphia. I think that would be huge. Philly has a decent offensive line. They would they'd kill for a 3-down back like Lev Bell. He would make them instantly a top 10 offense. Even,
Yeah.
I mean, because Alshon Jeffrey's back now.
You got
Zach
Nelson
been killing
Aguilar.
it. Nelson Aguilar literally exists as a player. I'm not willing to.
I feel like Le'Veon Bell want to go to a team where where he can get paid.
He could get paid though. Their quarterback's still on a rookie contract.
You're right.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And
What other
if-
NFC
if
teams
he's
could I
gonna
see
get
him?
paid-
I mean, to be honest, if you guys really want to make a push, I could see you guys going for him.
Who, Seattle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get a
No.
running back like him, you're about to just run over everybody, and you'll be back in the.
I mean,
The
you got
Seahawks.
Carson.
The Seahawks wouldn't pay that. They understand that paying running backs doesn't make sense. So that's why we have 3, jabroni ass.
Well then, I guess the
Contract
Steelers should do the fun thing to piss off Le'Veon Bell, trade him to the Cardinals.
The Cardinals don't need Le'Veon Bell though. They have David Johnson.
Who
Yeah, they
cares?
have David
Exile,
Johnson.
basically exile him to a bad team.
I mean, he probably wouldn't even play for him. Just
That's
sit
what'll
out
make
the
it
year.
funny.
I would personally love to see Lev Bell go for the Jaguars.
Oh, that would be an interesting trade. Yeah.
But what would they trade with their old division rivals? Will they really do that?
Well, they're not in the division, but they're in the conference. So.
Besides,
I mean,
I'm pretty sure
I
the
feel
Steelers hate their guts right now.
I feel like minus like active divisional rivals, those
I would
trades are
I
really-
would also nominate the Titans because they could use some more run game.
You know the team that needs a running game that has a generational quarterback, and I would hate for this to happen. Green Bay.
Maybe the Green Bay Pack. Oh my God, Lev Bell's the Green Bay Packers.
Oh no, you would.
That's a generational quarterback with a generational running
I
back.
swear, if
I
this
believe
happens,
that's
I'm
what-
blaming you.
I believe this is what's called in Bill's mind the absolute worst case scenario.
This would be code red panic time, and I would.
I
have
would be
to
curious to
just
see
dig
what
my
the
freaking shelter.
what the Packers would give up for that.
I mean,
I mean, they would
you're
have
looking-
Jimmy Graham too.
you're probably looking at a first round pick and then like a futures pick as well, or maybe just a a player like maybe I don't know the Steelers could use. I mean, they may even just do like a like a Lev Bell for haha type trade.
Yeah, I mean, the Packers have the capital to do it, and I
yeah,
mean,
they have the money.
it makes sense because the Packers don't have really a running game right now, and when they were really good, they had what was the running back in Green Bay that when they won their Super Bowl? Was it Amon Green?
I
Or
believe
was
it
that- But man, I think that would be a trade I wouldn't want to see, but I could see it happening.
I'll blame you if that happens.
Patrick Peterson to the Saints or Chargers would instantly make those two teams
Okay,
ultimate top tier monsters.
okay. What about
Especially Chargers.
Patrick Peterson to the Chiefs? Can they afford that?
I mean,
Can they take that?
I don't know that they can afford
Because
that.
here's the thing: if they wanted to make it a now win now mode, they could do it. They clearly their
Patrick
team
Peterson
can go all the way.
Uniform either.
Chargers,
They
I can understand too, but I'm not gonna sleep on the Chiefs if they wanted to make a move like that too. The Chiefs have surprised us from time to time.
I think putting Patrick Peterson on the Chargers would just make the team defense complete.
Yeah,
I feel like it would just solidify any holes that they even possibly could have had, and especially with Joey Bosa coming back next week.
and you have Derwin James there.
Yeah, I can't wait for Chicken to be reminded that he almost got him.
All right, let's not get ridiculous because Russell Wilson's gonna have 5 yards.
So close. You were one spot away.
Listen, I would much rather have had Derwin James than Rashad Penny. Okay.
Oh man.
Poor Chicken. Poor Mr.
Although-
Chicken.
Seattle does still have like a top 3 safety tandem, even without Earl Thomas right now.
Right. Man.
What, do you have any other picks or trades?
I'm just trying to think of like team needs, because like a shitload of teams could use Patrick Peterson, but who's another good player on a shit team?
Terrible team. I mean, I'm trying to think.
Trade Andrew Luck to the Jaguars.
I
Make
mean,
him instant Super Bowl favorite.
No, trade it. No, do what they did last. Or what happened to Peyton? Send him to the Broncos.
that would the only way that the Colts make that deal is if Irsay is in one of his cracking stupors and
So,
makes that deal.
You're saying they make that deal then?
Exactly.
No,
I mean,
I would say Colts trade trade him to the freaking Broncos, and then bam, Broncos back in it.
hey,
Damn.
if the Colts, I mean, there's really no other players I can really think of.
I feel like it's just where Peterson goes and maybe Bell.
I mean, those are definitely like the two.
The two shoes to drop. Yeah.
Yep. But all right, then let's move on to the games. We've only got 2 this time. So, Mr. Bill, how about them Lions?
How about them Lions proving me wrong? Well, the apocalypse didn't happen. Brock Osweiler didn't destroy us. Frank Gore did not hit the fountain of youth before the game. So overall, the game itself was really a 60-minute game all the way through for the Detroit Lions. The first 5 drives of the game, the Lions scored on 4 of them. One drive, Kerryon Johnson just broke off a 71-yard run. He just tired out at the end. But overall, what I liked seeing in this game was the efficiency of Matthew Stafford of going 18 for 22 for like 200 yards. It wasn't something crazy. Kerryon Johnson had 19 rushes for 158 yards. That was about half of it in one run, but still he got 80 more yards on the ground throughout the game. What I didn't like seeing is us running LeGarrette Blount for no apparent reason. To be brutally honest, LeGarrette Blount should be the goal line back and nothing more. Kerryon Johnson should be getting all the carries. Overall, Kenny Galladay was going off.
Well, it took him a whole
I
half
don't know
to get in it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a total team effort, and the defense actually for the majority of the first half played really, really well. And really, Brock Osweiler couldn't get really going in that game.
That was fun. Here's a fun fact. With the first 4 rushes Kerryon did, he was averaging 25 yards a rush.
Yeah.
What a fun little stat line I saw.
Wow.
Yeah, the Dolphins defense just didn't look like they expected the Lions to run the football. And to be fair, who really expects the Lions to run the football effectively based off of prior history? So it's been a revelation, but we've been saying it for weeks upon weeks upon weeks here on this podcast. Kerryon Johnson, run Kerryon Johnson. Just do it more and good things will happen. And that's what was evidenced in that game. One note in the game, Kiko Alonso decided that he wanted to, punch Matthew Stafford in the back of the head. Continuing his streak of being a dirty player. So, it's not like us, we didn't see it here in Detroit, but yeah, he just likes playing like in that style, a la the hit on Joe Flacco last year. But otherwise, it was a enjoyable game to watch and a well-rounded
As
one.
you're gonna notice with your game and mine, we both had complete games where both sides did their job well. My favorite thing is how Golden Tate was just, he really did not like that yak comment about, what's his name, the other guy from the Dolphins?
Oh, Albert Wilson?
Yep, he had to step up and remind them that he is the yak king.
Well,
Except now he's the IR king.
yeah.
That was
It-
fun. I liked how Golden Tate had some fire in
yeah.
with him today, or that game. But Kerryon Johnson literally ran away with the game. He was the MVP, best player on that field right there, then and there, if you ask me. But Stafford played a very good game, and finally, here's a stat that nobody's talking about. For once, he beat a winning team on the road. That hasn't happened in a while. Technically, the
He's an
Dolphins had a
absolute
winning
lad,
record.
lad.
I mean, it's not like, he didn't beat no big team on the road like a Packers with, a healthy team and good team, but you get what I mean. Slowly, the Lions are eliminating their narratives, their little past curses that stuck with them. Oh, you couldn't beat a good team even at home. They beat the Patriots. You can't.
There's still one curse that needs to be broken. It's the curse of Bobby Lane.
So, Bill, remind us of the Bobby Lane curse.
The curse of Bobby Lane is basically the last NFL championship quarterback of the Lions. They refused to pay him, so he said, "You're never going to win another title until you're never done winning another title without me." And we haven't won another title without him. So it's called the curse of Bobby Lane.
Oh, so it's
Our
the
Hall of Fame
football
quarterback.
version of the Billy Goat curse.
Oh yeah.
Well, if the Billy Goat curse can get lifted, so can yours. And right now, you're back in the driver. Well, not in the driver's seat, but you're back in the hunt. If you can beat the Vikings when you play them in a couple weeks. Who knows? Maybe you'll be starting to be talked about a little more. That's by a person who's not named Nate Burleson, because I swear he's the only guy who reps you these days. Everyone else.
Yo, I like Nate Burleson.
I like Nate Burleson too, although sometimes he gets a little
I
crazy.
feel like his head might explode picking this game though.
Can Nate Burleson just continuously troll the Dallas Cowboy fans?
Oh,
again,
yes.
at
I
the
mean,
draft next year?
this way. I'll take anyone trolling the Cowboys. Like the Eagles punter, kicker, whoever it was.
What?
You had Nate. I'm like, I don't care what team you're from. Let's all just troll Dallas. I
But-
think we could all shake our hands and it's like, hey, it's like everyone in that division just held a ceasefire. You saw Washington, Giants, and Eagles fans just hold a
Right.
truce just to troll Dallas, and it was fun.
But one other thing from the game I want to mention is we finally found our tight end in Michael Roberts, who had 2 touchdown catches. Thank God we needed a tight end. That just makes our offense just even more dynamic and explosive.
Yep. I mean,
Absolutely.
I'll put it for you this way, Mr. Bill. you keep this up, who knows? Maybe you have a shot at a wild card at the minimum. It's
The,
it's a
the
NFC is a tough out.
The Lions are doing exactly what New England did. They start off slow like garbage, and now they finally turned it on. Maybe this is the revelation, and the Lions go 12-4 this year. You never know.
I also wanted to give a bit of a shout
I
out
think that's craziness
to
but
a non
what?
Yeah, I
to a
think
non
craziness
football
too.
player. But I want to talk about some Ninja. Ninja's been
Good
getting
old-
buddy with the Lions players like Tate, Quandre Diggs,
Good.
and it's like, well, I won't be surprised if I see this bad lad getting the Lions crowd hyped
More-
up during the Thanksgiving game at this rate.
Hey,
What, Bill?
they're our best shot at winning a championship in the next 3 years. So the more support we get, the better it is. But that's what I'm gonna say. We can move
Okay, here's a hot take. Ninja's probably your best celebrity fan right now. I mean, there's Eminem, but right now he's the bigger trending kind of guy.
Oh yeah. I would say M in the city is a
I'd just say M is a Detroit legend at this point.
No, he's an icon in the city. I mean, literally an icon. But we can continue.
I mean, Chicken. Explain this. What's the difference between an icon and a legend? I associate them as one of the same.
An icon and a legend. I don't know. I feel like a legend has to have had accomplished something, where an icon could be more of like just a figurehead that is popular or famous for one reason or another.
I feel like he's both, or I feel like they're both the same to me, but that might just be me.
But
Like LeBron James is a legend,
Yeah.
but who would be like
Yeah,
an icon?
But I will say, I'm
Like
glad
Joel-
I dethroned
like
the
Joel
king
Embiid-
once
if Joel
again.
Embiid doesn't go on- If Joel Embiid doesn't go on to win a ring, he's an icon.
Yeah. I will stand for Joel Embiid.
this city has way too many musical acts to, I mean, Bob Seger, etc. But
Aretha Franklin.
that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
That's a whole different podcast.
Yeah, but maybe for the April Fool's Day podcast. But let's talk about another team who won on all sides of the ball. Let's talk about my Texans, because like Mr. Chicken, or Mr. Bill, didn't you start out 0-3 as well? I think you did, right?
No, we start out 1-2.
Wait. Okay, yeah, you went
We
2-0.
lost
You went
the
0-2,
first
and then you
three.
beat the Patriots. Okay, then all right, then this makes it even better for me. Who went 0-3? I buried them already, and now they've won 4 in a row. A lot of them were ugly, but this one was at least the first convincing game, and they're now atop on the AFC South race because the Titans lost on a very stupid call that I will mention later.
Yeah, totally just trash.
I
ball.
know. I mean, we'll talk about that later, man. That's a game I wanted to discuss. But so they lost. So at this point, this game was about whoever wins gets in the driver's seat. So you would think Jacksonville would bring their best this time. You know, bring back the good old Saxonville. But like I've been saying, all these new hype train defenses, like the Giants defense of like 2 years ago, they have one good year where they play phenomenal, and then it just drops, it falls. It's a honeymoon, and the honeymoon phase is dead because the Texans they robbed Jacksonville hard. They bamboozled them. They look like the Jaguars did not look like they were in it at all. Bortles got benched, and Cody Kessler actually looked a little bit better than him. A little bit. He got him points at least.
They're still both terrible.
Of course they are, but I mean, it's hard to be so bad that Kessler is looking better than you. But then again,
Maybe-
it's Blake Bortles. I'm not surprised, but the world for some reason
Jaguars
is.
trade for like Tyrod Taylor or something.
Yeah, maybe the Jags should have traded and see if they could have got him too from the Browns. Maybe they could have got a good old 2-for-1 deal.
Seriously.
So, but anyway, I did want to mention about one wide receiver. Here's a hot take from me. To me, Nuke is playing like the best wide receiver in the game right now. He just roasted the best AFC cornerback. He humbled him. He didn't make him cry. That honor still goes to Mr. Bill's Lions. I can't take that away from Mr. Bill. But I will still take pride in the fact that Nuke had to remind him that you may have your own little island, but he's going to nuke it one day and it'll never be the same. Just ask Darrelle Revis. May his career rest in peace.
Oof.
Oh, God. No, that one was a good time. That was a story. That's a story for another day, Mr. Chicken. But all in all, Hopkins looked good. Lamar Miller got a 100-yard rush game. Perfect, just in time for this Dolphins game, for the Dolphins revenge game. And Watson was playing a lot more safer, I noticed. He took a couple shots, but he also threw the ball away. I was actually a little worried at the beginning because of the fact they gave up a sack on the first play of the game for Watson. But after that, the line settled a little bit more. They actually fell for the same problems as last time. They still had some penalties at the goal line. Delay of game and a false start, and that was just pathetic. But regardless, they were able to punch some touchdowns in. And yeah, on the offensive side of the ball, the Texans were getting a little bit better, but they were also good at controlling time of possession. Because to be honest, they probably could have scored more, but they were just focused on not giving the Jags the ball until they had no choice but to do so. And it worked.
Right.
Hell, Bortles fumbled the ball twice in near his own end zone, and that was just, yeesh. That was just bad, and that's why he got benched. But you gotta give some credit to the Texans front seven. They did not stop chasing. They did not stop. I thought they were gonna let Bortles run it all, but hey, he made his own mistakes. There were also a lot of dropped balls. It was just a very miscommunicated, poorly managed game by the Jags. They were actually on the verge of fighting each other for it. I mean, like Jacksonville with each other. I think it was Ngakoue and was it Campbell? I don't remember. Ngakoue and somebody else were about to on the verge of duking it out. I swear, but ugh. Anyway, so you guys have any takeaways from this? This was a convincing game, unlike the other three, which were ugly, and some of them you couldn't even tell if the Texans even deserved it.
I mean, the Texans are such a weird team to peg down right now because they're the only team that seems to be trying in a division full of teams that are actively trying not to win.
I mean, I would argue the only team maybe, or I would say not even a team, a player. I feel like Andrew Luck's the only player trying in this whole division to actually win his games.
And they're 1-2
Yep.
or 2-5.
Well, that just goes to show one man can't do it all himself, especially when the supporting cast is just garbage.
Well,
Hey.
I mean,
Aaron Rodgers exists.
Hey, he has some decent players. Devontae Adams is good with him. Perfect for him.
All right, T.Y. Hilton next.
Trade T.Y. Hilton. Trade T.Y. to the
Marlon Mack is
Packers.
going to-
There's another trade option. Trade T.Y. to the Packers.
Ooh.
Hey, let's calm down on that, okay?
Hey, why don't we just trade, the
Well, trade the entire Colts roster then, so Mr. Bill can enjoy many
Oh.
years of Rodgers failing.
why don't we just trade some, Aaron Donald to the Packers too while we're at it.
Oh, no.
Let's just beef up the Packers so much that
How about we just stop?
How about we?
Let's
How about
stop
we?
with this crazy talk?
Fine. Here's a bet. How about we trade
Stop-
Le'Veon Bell
stop with
to
this
the
crazy
Lions,
talk.
just to give Bill a rough time?
Now, I mean, Le'Veon Bell in the Lions uniform, he would immediately start playing terribly and then would be out of football.
Well, I'm not going to complain.
That's the sort of luck we
Yep.
have. But continue.
Anyway, so despite how some people thought, we all thought the Jags were going to win, but despite that, it seems something's just wrong with that team. And they don't have much more time to figure it out. Mind you, they're in the AFC South, so they could come back in this. But who knows? If the Texans keep having momentum swing in their favor, because look, they're going to play the Dolphins. And if they win that, they get a couple tough games in Washington and Denver. But if you win even just one of those, all of a sudden you have to start thinking the Texans are starting to put it together. And they might make a run. How far? I don't know. Probably they won't beat Kansas City, but hey, they look like they're starting to get their act together. Watson's starting to get his act together. A fun little stat I found is that after that horrible week 2 loss or week 3 loss to the Giants, slowly and surely Watson's been getting more accurate and more precise with some of his throws. And I think that should be something to note. Mind you, that might have been due to his injury, but because he's being forced to, be smart and either throw the ball away or just try to find a better target, be more patient, it's leading to some slight improvements. I think what you were saying, Bill, a few weeks ago, like Watson needs to learn how to not just rely on his legs and just, find an open man and just throw it away. He's listening, I guess.
I mean, his development as a quarterback, if he puts together the completion percentage up to 70% ish, and he keeps that running game as part of his repertoire, but doesn't rely on it exclusively and can get the ball downfield, he's a 13-3 quarterback. He's a great quarterback, raring to go. He's a Russell Wilson. He's a Aaron
Does
Rodgers.
Chicken have any problems with that comparison? Watson to Wilson, that comparison. Is that all right with you, Mr. Chicken?
I think Watson has the skill sets to be maybe. I don't know. How tall is Watson?
I think he's 6'1" and a half,
Not sure.
which I think people were actually saying he was going to be a bad quarterback because of that.
I don't know. I feel like
He's a half foot shy of the ideal QB height, which I think is 6'2".
I don't know that he works the same type of magic that Wilson does.
Hey, he
Right.
actually evaded
In
a
these
couple
types of
sacks from
situations.
the Jags.
Sure.
What
Sure.
what I think he is he's a weird hybrid between Rodgers and
Well, if he forms his own
Wilson.
category, that's how you know you're an impactful good guy, like Wilson and Rodgers, because you created your own subgenre or niche of QBs.
I mean, here's the thing. It's his second year.
yeah.
He's just barely cracking and playing double-digit games.
Cracking
in
the
NFL.
code.
Yeah.
So it's still too early to pass judgment on a player like
Well,
this.
regardless, he still beat some
And-
quality secondary players. Hopkins
for
Hopkins
sure.
made an incredible catch at the beginning. That one
Well-
was fantastic.
Here's the true test, and if God forbid this ever happened, but if DeAndre's not out there and he's not throwing the DeAndre and he has to only rely on Will Fuller and his wide receivers, then we would truly know what he's totally made of.
Well, so you're basically saying the Calvin Johnson test with Stafford.
Yeah,
Right.
you get rid of the best. If you get rid of your best wide receiver and he flourishes with that, that means he has the stuff there.
Right.
Like Russell Wilson. I mean, that man is throwing to and no
Literal
offense.
Literal
No offense to
nobody.
Doug Baldwin or Tyler Lockett, but he's throwing to nobody right now.
Yeah, minus Doug Baldwin, he's literally been throwing it to nobody's most of his career.
Yeah, you give him a top tier wide
Exactly.
receiver, and all of a sudden they may actually be making a playoff push.
But
I mean-
he's still winning with
Right, that's the thing. Russell Wilson is making something out of nothing.
if Deshaun and that's just a hypothetical. But I mean, if his completion percentage was would stay up and not drop after DeAndre, who can catch
Yeah.
the football out of a wind tunnel,
It's
mean-
like what you're saying is that he needs to be either taken out of the game by a top tier corner, but the crazy thing is he's been beating some of these top tier corners, and they're not doubling him. The Texans' wide receiving core, when healthy, is a very interesting situation because you should double
They have
Hopkins.
very complementary skills.
You should double Hopkins, but then you risk Will Fuller running for
Will-
45 yards.
hmm there's the issue right
It's
there.
a very clever offensive
If
makeup.
defensive line is up to snuff.
What, Chicken?
Oh, all you need to do is rush the passer.
Yeah.
and-
But again, aside from that first drive, the line has been at least getting a little bit better at a time. It's not good, I'd say, but they're not really forcing Watson to like escape and have to run 10 yards on his own. He hasn't had a big run since what, week 3, 2? Week 4 or 3. It's been a while since he's ran for like 10 plus yards, I've noticed. So,
and that's ideal.
Yeah, that's ideal.
Yes.
The only unless this, I feel like they're also starting to incorporate some bootlegs. And I say that's actually good because bootlegs, considering he can run, uses running powers in better ways like that.
Play action is one of the most important type of plays right now in the NFL.
Yep.
Look at the Rams. The Rams run play action 40% of the
Yep.
time.
And that's why they are now on the verge of surpassing the greatest show on turf, which is pretty fun to watch. But anyway,
So
I don't have much else
next
to
on the
add
docket?
on terms of the offensive side for Houston. The last thing would be about the defense, because I expect Clowney to get paid now. I know he got 1. He may have gotten 2 sacks, but Clowney was just stuffing them. They were actually rather trying to face Watt than trying to face Clowney when they ran, because he would just get up to Yeldon or whatever. But I will tell you, it was really great to see Andre Hal on the field again. He got his cancer in remission, and he got to play. Didn't think he'd be out here so soon. To be honest, I thought I wouldn't see this man till next year, maybe, because you never know how strong, like stuff like Hodgkin's lymphoma, and then of course, like last night, tells you how fucked cancer is. In the world of WWE, Roman Reigns has leukemia again, and now he's done. It's just cancer.
Right.
The big C needs to go kindly fuck itself. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. When I celebrate Andre Hal, and then you see how someone like a Roman Reigns, it's like, man, I can't even be happy that somebody survived, because now it's like somebody else is now on the having to face that battle or is losing it. You get what I mean? I don't know. It's just a weird emotional thing for me where I can't feel happy that somebody else survives because it feels like somebody else may die at the expense of that. Does that make sense?
Well, that's a really dark way of thinking about shit. I got a real good thing though to say. Let's move on to the
Oh,
next
come
topic.
on.
Right.
Oh, come on. Well, the only other thing is Honey Badger got an interception. What'd you think about that?
Hey.
And mind you, it was a deflected pass, but Honey Badger don't care. He just takes what he wants.
I feel like we've been talking about this game for 25
Oh, chill
minutes.
out. You'll be fine. Well, tell you what, if you played a game, you would do it, but hey, fine. I guess we'll drop it for you. So, there were 3 games I wanted to mention. There was the Chargers Titans game, which, Chicken, explain what the Titans were trying to do.
The Titans were trying to get cute. Mike Vrabel was trying to hang some serious onion. And a weird thing, just by the way, time of possession. The Titans' time of possession far outweighed the Chargers' time of possession.
And that's why everyone's mad that they went for 2. They could have won in overtime. They had a shot. The stats were in their favor.
A lot of the stats were in their favor, although the efficiency wasn't there on offense. They may have had time of possession, but they didn't walk away with scores like the Chargers did. The Chargers only had maybe like 7 or 8 possessions the entire game, and they scored on just about every single one. But the Titans had long, sustained drives. Not all of them finished in points. But when you have the game-tying score in your hands with less than a minute left to play, and you're essentially sending a game into overtime by tying it, you don't get cute and go for 2 with the division on the line. You take the game into overtime. What you're basically saying is you don't trust any of your players.
You're scared of Phillip Rivers coming back.
You're basically scared of Felipe Rios coming back.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's what happened. And guess what? The Chargers deserve to win that game. I think they are the better team.
Yeah, they are.
And
I mean, if we could have picked that game, I think we all would have went Chargers universally. And here's the best part
We
in that
almost-
game. They didn't even have Melvin Gordon. He was out.
Dog,
So
my fantasy team. Does not forgive me
going
for
back
that.
to Mr. Bill's take the best player out rule, I think that besides the quarterback, Melvin Gordon may be their best player on offense.
Keenan Allen.
I argue Gordon because
Mel-
Gordon's keeping those drives going and it gives Keenan Allen
Melvin
opportunities.
Gordon is the second most important piece
Yeah.
to that offense.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, if we're saying someone else besides Melvin Gordon, Keenan Allen.
But I think Melvin Gordon is so vital to them because of him getting some players off of Keenan Allen. You know, they got to make sure he doesn't run for 20 yards or something. It opens it up. It opens him up for a touchdown pass or whatever. Next game on the list.
Right.
Ah, this one was the best game of the year so far. The Saints-Ravens game. So, Chicken, you watch this one. So, walk me through the final minutes of the game.
So, picture this: we're in Baltimore. Baltimore's down by exactly a touchdown, and in the waning seconds of the game, boom! John Brown, where you at? Gets a beauty of a catch. And Justin Tucker, Mr. 222 for 222 prior to today. This is a go-ahead, sending this game into overtime type play. Justin Tucker misses his first ever point after attempt, and his brain actually exploded inside of his head,
Oh, the reaction picture's so good.
costing Baltimore the game ultimately.
I wanted
And,
free football of this game. I mean, I'm glad we got our picks. You and I, we got our... No, wait. You picked the Ravens, didn't you? Oh, I'm the... Wait, Bill, did you pick the Saints or the Ravens?
I'm pretty
You
sure
two
I
both
picked
picked the
Saints.
Saints.
Okay, Mr. Chicken, Mr. Bill and I get to gloat. On one hand, I'm glad I got that W, but to be honest, I really wanted more. I was not satisfied with it ending like that. I really wanted 10
That
more
was
minutes of
such a
football.
fun game. That game deserved to be 5
That
quarters.
game deserves to be repeated in the Super Bowl. I wouldn't be against seeing
Ooh.
these two teams again in the Super Bowl.
I mean, yeah, I'd like that. I wouldn't hate it.
That'd be an interesting one.
I'm glad.
I think New Orleans would win that
I'm
one,
pretty
though.
sure you're right,
yeah.
but I'm not. If it's close like this, I'd watch it 10 times in a row.
Oh, absolutely.
But so there's that one. I say rip Justin Tucker. You know, UT alumni.
And this
He
game
deserved
sets
better.
up New Orleans has to be the favorite to face the Rams in the NFC
Oh,
title.
why do you think
Oh, yeah.
that game matters so much? Because that has home field advantage, and you don't want to play the Saints at home in the playoffs. That place gets loud.
Listen, if the Saints get a first round bye, that'll be insane
Yeah.
for them.
But if they get home
Oh,
field advantage, that means you got to be scared. Well, scared if you're not a Saints fan.
Shit, the way the Saints are playing, I'd be scared regardless.
Yeah, I mean they have Kamara, they have Michael Thomas, they have Benjamin Watson, who also seemingly never ages. I mean that team's pretty scary.
Yeah.
In a
And then the
lot of
last
ways.
game. Oh boy. How about them Cowboys? They're getting their asses handed to them. My personal favorite play was the Dak fumbling in the end zone, instead of throwing it away, and touchdown for Washington.
I just feel like neither of these teams walked away from this game looking super impressive.
I feel like
Um,
Washington should have put it away much easier than this.
Washington should have put that game
But
away
hey,
much easier than they did.
that penalty is gonna piss off Cowboys fans for weeks because they're like, we should have won that. If we didn't get that penalty, it would have been fine. It's like it's rigged. Yes, because
This game is a perfect microcosm of how 95% of NFC East matchups play out.
Yeah,
Just some random bullshit 20 to 23 game that is boring to watch, that neither team really wants to win, and everyone watching the game gets punished for
I got
you know,
punished for
remembering
existing
that
in
these
Texas.
things exist.
The one time I don't want to be in Texas. Guess what I could have been watching instead? I could have watched that Saints-Ravens game. I would have loved to watch that.
You gotta get that NFL Sunday ticket. Good
Yeah, I
sir.
guess I gotta get DirecTV. What if it do if it rains? SOL.
Then you just illegally stream your games like a normal
I
person.
probably should have done that, but it's all right. But oh, nothing. Hearing that ball hit the upright and get denied was funny. I could hear, to quote,
That I still don't agree with that penalty call. Though.
I'm gonna say this, to quote Obi-Wan, it's as if you heard millions of voices scream out, and then all of a sudden they were silenced. That's what I heard. Just millions of Cowboys fans roaring in anger, and my grandma behind me, and I'm just laughing maniacally. Ah, that was so fun. Once again, Houston's on the verge of being the best team.
It's almost like they had a all-time great kicker and they got rid of him
For a few $1 million. Okay, Jerry. Normally you're like the biggest overspender. Like, I'm gonna be a little stingy this time and cut out a good player. Okay, man.
Got him. Sick burn.
Oh, God. Anyway, enough of the Palpatine of the NFL. Mr. Bill, are you ready for the Pick 6 segment?
All right, here we go. The Pick
How did we
6
do?
segment starts
Wait, how
with
did we
the-
do this week? To recap, before I forget.
To recap, so in third place, Bill the Fajita ran a nice little 1-5 pick segment. Did pick the Chiefs, who, by the way, that offense looks more efficient than the Rams offense.
Yeah, when they
right
play
now.
at home,
And
yeah,
that's
you're right.
something. Second is Mr. Sampleman with a 3-3 finish, and Skyward Shield, your boy Josh, ends up with a 4-2 record, making him the pack leader with a record of 22-20. We won't discuss the other two scores. We're only down by 2 to 3
Well,
games. We're gonna
Because
come
let's
back
see,
again.
we all took a universal L because we all picked Jacksonville against Houston, and then if I stuck
was
with my
the
gut
only
and picked
universal
Carolina, I would have been 5-1. But I was wrong.
What you did?
There was the Ravens game, the one that we already know that one,
To be fair though, Philly had no business.
and yet they
losing that
choked.
game.
They just choked. That's all that it is. But you know what's funny? That Eat That Pussy guy was so angry. He got his account terminated on YouTube.
Yo,
that shit was funny.
Yo, EDP fucking kills me every time.
You know, that's why sometimes I kind of want the Eagles to lose, just because I want to see what kind of reaction I'll get this week.
Just to see what kind of shit you do.
Yeah.
Oh my god. that's so
I got you and I got Washington right. Oh wait, Bill, did you pick Washington or Dallas?
I don't know. The chicken would have that.
You guys both picked Washington.
And you picked Dallas.
I picked Dallas.
And then we also had, I think that was it actually. Yeah, I think that's everything. All right then, let's go into this week's games.
Right. All right, so starting on Thursday, it is the Miami Dolphins at the Houston
This one's
Texans.
easy. The quote-unquote Brock Osweiler revenge game. No, it's gonna quickly turn into the Lamar Miller revenge game. He's gonna run for over 100 yards, and in fact, maybe some tight ends will get some touchdowns from the Texans this time. I'm gonna go Houston.
I think Houston's a layup right now. All the Miami receivers are hurt. The Dolphins are a really banged up team right now on a short week. Houston's carrying all this momentum after dicking down world's dumbest quarterback, and they get to play another shitty quarterback. So I feel like Houston's just the layup.
Must you
pick
use
right
verbs like that here?
Oh man.
here. I think I used that phrase.
Yes, you do.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm just gonna go 3 for 3 here. I got the Texans. The Dolphins defense really didn't look
Do
very
not
good.
disappoint me, Houston. Do not.
All right. So here's our next game. It is the Washington Redskins at the New York
This is a fun
Giants.
situation. If the Giants,
The
The G-Men will be. I mean, they're already dead, but they still think they're alive and well. But Washington really needs to make a statement that they are in the driver's seat, and winning a game like this will absolutely remind the world of that fact that yes, the team you didn't think would be in the driver's seat by this point in time will actually be relevant for the playoff hunt.
Except they won't, because this is the NFC East and nobody's allowed to be happy ever. And I like my man Saquon Barkley.
So, do I smell an upset of the week?
No.
Yeah, I'm picking
That's
the
upset
Giants.
of the week.
Well, make that 2 because I'm picking the Giants as well. I mean, it's the NFC East, and you never know if Washington's actually come out and play.
How about
Ever
this?
since Gruden's been there.
Final score is going to be 20-23.
I'm gonna go 24-17 actually.
Nobody wants to watch.
How about we raise it a point there, Bill? We'll go 24-21. Exactly.
I'm gonna go 24-17 touchdown gap.
And
Oh.
in Washington's
Yes.
favor,
Okay, so 2 on the Giants, 1 on the Redskins. All right, here we go. Here comes some division right here, I think. We have the Seattle Seahawks at the
This
Detroit
one
Lions.
has so much implications for the wild card hunt. And Mr. Chicken, you
Yeah,
lost to Mr. Bill in your fantasy league. This is your opportunity for revenge.
well, let me just call Pete and let him know that he's playing for my honor.
Goddamn Pete Morelli. But
So here's the thing. This matchup is two teams that are eerily similar to each
Carroll.
other in the way that they've been playing over the last month. Both teams have all of a sudden discovered that they're able to run the ball. Both teams have quarterbacks who are finding guys open and making plays. Both of these teams have defenses that are quietly overperforming expectations. And I think this game could be the game of the week. Like, it honestly is one of the best matchups on paper. Lions Seahawks is always a close game, regardless. I believe of the last 3 matchups, the home team has won. This game is in Ford Field, but I like the Seahawks to buck the trend,
ooh.
and I'm picking Seattle as a road upset. I think that offensive line has been playing so well. They're coming off a bye, so they're well rested. A lot of players are coming back, and Doug Baldwin has another week to get healthy. This game is going to come down to the last possession. It will be like a 24-28 type thing.
I have a different
And-
side. I think the Lions are playing pretty hot. You run carry on all day. If he finds success, so will Stafford. And I think the Lions will keep Russell Wilson off the field just long enough to make sure they get this win.
If I'm going to go with the Lions, but here's the key to the game is to continue to run Kerryon Johnson. If we start running LeGarrette Blount into that defense, we are going to lose. We need Kerryon to have an efficient game, so that way Matthew Stafford can have an efficient game. If that does not happen, it's Seattle's game to win.
It's
So-
whoever's run defense shows up most is going to win this game.
Yep. I mean, it's a very close game, like you said, though, Bill. I mean, it's going to be a really close game.
This game's going to get won in the trenches. It's not going to be a flashy game for sure.
But I got the Lions, so I gotta go Homer. Every time I pick them, they lose. So I'm hoping to buck that trend myself.
Hope so.
All right, here we go. The Baltimore Ravens at the Carolina
The Ravens have a
Panthers.
shot at having 2 good games, but I think this is one they actually take home and win, because the Dabbers. I loved how they made a real good comeback to piss off Eagles Nation. But I feel like the Ravens they got a chip on their shoulder. They need to prove we could be better.
I just think that the Baltimore defense can keep Cam Newton in check so much better than the Philly defense did. And I think the Baltimore offense is just consistent enough to move the ball and just grind out clock, and expect Justin Tucker to kick 18 field goals from 65 yards just to get over last week's hiccup.
And see, and I'm going to go the Ravens as well. And the other thing that Baltimore is going to be really good at is keeping Christian McCaffrey in check as well. He's not going to be able to, get those dump off little bubble screens and run all over the place.
Right.
That defense is fast. It's a fly to the football. I just, they'll keep Cam in check. I got the Ravens. Our next game is the Green Bay Packers at the Los Angeles
If the Rams drop 30 on the Packers and the Packers can't answer back, the Rams should win. Why? Because normally you say they're just going to run the ball badly, but they have Todd Gurley, who's quietly playing, or I don't say quietly, but he is one of the best backs right now. And I expect him to run the ball all over that Packers defense.
This has Todd Gurley game written all over it. I fully expect the Rams to own the time of possession battle. Although the Green Bay Packers are built to not give a shit about time of possession, because when the Rams are up 35-20 with 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, Aaron Rodgers is going to make a game out of it. This has highest scoring game of the week written all over it. If I were in Vegas, I would be taking the over right now. And you just can't bet against the Rams, though.
Come on,
Yeah.
New greatest show on turf. I gotta go with it.
I mean, now this is the selfish part of me coming out, and the part of me that doesn't want to see the Packers do anything good. So I want the Rams to absolutely stomp them, but I know that's not going to happen. It's going to be a closer game. But I just got the Rams winning, and that's good enough for me. I think Todd Gurley's going to run all over that defense, and they're in for a major battle.
Todd
right
Gurley
now.
just needs to prevent Aaron Rodgers from coming on that field.
Yeah,
And he
I
will.
mean, that's the key to any Packers game. You keep
And
Aaron
if-
Rodgers off
if-
the field.
If Cooper Kupp is healthy enough to start this game too, that'll be such a boon for this team. Although
Yeah.
Robert Woods has been balling out.
Yeah, Robert Woods has been. Brandon Cooks as well. He's been putting up some numbers too.
True.
Um, Next up, and our final game to pick, the Sunday night game, the New Orleans Saints at the Minnesota
Oh boy,
Vikings.
this one's gonna be a doozy. It's a rematch, but I'm gonna go with the Saints. I know that Vikings defense is supposed to be daunting, but I feel like the Saints have momentum on their side. With a big win like that, I could see it carrying over into next week. And well, Drew Brees is better than Kirk Cousins. We're not gonna debate that, are we?
No,
Whether it be
no,
by a
never,
triumphant, just comfortable lead or a come from behind win, I see the Saints pulling it out in the final minutes regardless.
I don't. I think the Saints are due to drop one. They got lucky this week off a bad kick. I mean, the Vikings team, if you look at the Jets game last week, the Vikings thoroughly owned the Jets. And that offensive line is starting to gel. Kirk Cousins to Adam Thielen is an unstoppable force.
Yeah.
And I mean, last year when they played in freaking Minnesota, the Vikings were owning the Saints for the first 50 minutes of that game. And then the Saints made a comeback and then lost. But I like the Vikings at home. I think they're going to be fired up. Everson Griffin's coming back this game. I think that may be all the difference. I like Minnesota winning a close one and pushing for the NFC North crown.
Ooh. See, I have multiple reasons why I want the Saints to win, but I'm going New Orleans Saints. But I think this could be a really high-scoring game. I don't know about the Vikings defense just yet. You know, I mean, Griffin's take a little bit of time to get back up to speed again. Adam Thielen is legit. He's going to tie the he's going to tie the NFL record most consecutive 100-yard games at 8 in this game. I just feel like I can't pick against Drew Brees right now. I don't know. There's just something There's something magical about. I just feel like he's in that one where he's on break all the records, like Peyton Manning did that one year, and then he's on make a Super Bowl that same year. And I just feel like this is that year. And I feel like the Saints are a sneaky team to go like 14-2, and I just gotta go Saints.
Yeah. Well then, if that's all we got to go with, you guys have anything else you want to add?
Don't forget to get your cats spayed and neutered.
Okay, Bob Barker.
We're going Bob Barker now. Nice. But obviously follow myself at TheSampleman on Twitter.
Yep, you already know my name.
And you can follow your boy, aka Mr. 1 in 5 at Bill the Fajita.
Yeah, everyone just go follow him
on
and just
Twitter.
tweet at him 1 in 5.
Please don't hurt my feels.
We'll see then. Well, then that.
It's all right. I'm gonna go 5 and 1 this week.
Well, hey, at least you didn't go 0 and 6. It would be bad if we had an 0 and 6 week before a 6 and 0 week. Yikers indeed. But anyway, that'll do it. I'll see you guys next week for week 9. Already about to be halfway through the season.